What is going on YouTube? Hayden back making another brand new Crypto TV episode. In today's video, we have a bunch of important things to discuss and discover, I guess. We're going to be looking at Litecoin, Bitcoin, Ethereum, as well as Zcash to BTC. We'll also be looking at the coin market cap and the potential rally that could be happening within cryptos. Otherwise, guys, if you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe, turn on post notifications. We're doing a giveaway at 10,000 subscribers, which is literally right around the corner. We'll be doing a $100 giveaway. Let's jump right into today's episode. So as you guys can see, we're on the current coin market cap, and the market cap does look quite nice. We do see Bitcoin dominance at 55.2%, which is the one thing that really stands out. And it's an indication that Bitcoin is kind of just consolidating out while the rest of the market is kind of taking a leap to the upside. And we're going to get into some very, very, very intricate technicals in a second. So please do, keep watch and leave comments, specifically leave comments on this episode so I can hear your feedback on what your thoughts are on my opinions on the current market. So with the Bitcoin dominance being 55.2%, we're seeing more volume and we're seeing more market cap because we're seeing those altcoins rise while Bitcoin stays fairly the same. Bitcoin's only up 0.24% at $8,700, which is wild to think that we're almost at 10 grand. But you'll notice that of the top 10 cryptos, they all seem to be doing quite well. Bitcoin SV is kind of dying off, but still up quite a bit from yesterday's little pump. We do see Litecoin still at number 6 at 117, which is still phenomenal at $7.2 billion. Only $200 million away, or less than $200 million away from bumping past EOS and holding the number 5 spot. Ethereum is up 4.3%, which is the second, runner up in terms of which coins are pumping higher. And I do want to show you guys what exactly I mean by that and the trade that I did make last night. Now, let's move on to Litecoin, and then we'll follow things through with Bitcoin, Ethereum, Zcash, and just follow along with me, guys, because I am going to be getting really in-depth right now. And I do want to talk about my trade that I made with Ethereum, whether or not it was a good idea, bad idea. I just want your opinions on it. So as you guys know, we're looking at Litecoin on its daily, and what we're noticing is that we're seeing a pretty freaking huge resistance where the current price is, right around here. So you'll notice right at 117, there is a pretty big resistance where we've had 1, 2, 3, now 4 candles not being able to break above that, and you can see the candles are having a lot of wicks but not really seeing much width in this candle movement, indicating that this is a pretty strong resistance. There's a lot of downwards pressure. Now the longer we hang out here, the more I get worried that we're going to break to the downside, and obviously if we do break to the downside, a good dollar cost averaging method would be once we fell to about here, this box would be a great area to start dollar cost averaging out in hopes that we do retrace back to the upside. Now, the one thing that I do want to point out is we are, just trading sideways on this RSI. Now, not only is Litecoin doing that, but Bitcoin and Ethereum are all trading sideways. And I do want to make a pretty good point. So, as you guys know, the reason we're having a lot of problems here, and it is a problem area, is if we look now to the weekly, which we haven't done in quite a while, you'll notice that there is something to take note of. It's pretty strong. Not only are we nearing the overbought line for Litecoin's weekly, we're also trading in between not only the green band, but the red band as well, so the high-low MMA. So what that's indicating is we're finally at the top of this high-low middle moving average on the weekly, and we're facing resistance in this key area right here. And this is what I was talking about with my clients yesterday, where we're discussing in depth what exactly was going on, and we did find a couple of great points, which we'll discuss later in today's episode. Now, you'll notice we are just ever so slightly breaking above that, but you'll notice that is a problem area. We also have this retracement right here in this zone, which is acting as a pretty strong, it was a support, it's now acting as a resistance. So we'll see if we're able to get above that. It's going to be very interesting to see because, we're nearing overbought on the weekly and the daily, so it's going to be very hard for it to break through. But there's still potential for it to move to the upside. We're just hanging out, trading sideways here, so there is that potential to break to the upside, and I do want to cover that. So obviously, the point being is if we do see a move up to, let's say 122, right above our, previous wick, that could be an idea to, put out a market order. So basically, you're not buying at the current price, but when you do pass 122, the market order will fill, and then you can ride this wave up. If we do enter the overbought market, it could hang out in potential that we see this new run. Now, the interesting thing to point out is this does look very similar to previous patterns on Litecoin. You'll notice we had this previous retracement where we broke up bullish, then traded on top of our ascending wedge, and then we broke down. Now that is definitely a possibility to see within Litecoin right now. So you saw we traded out, we broke up, we could see a retracement back down, trade sideways along our wedge, and then fall lower to our yellow support right here, around $90. This is a huge possibility to happen within Litecoin. So it's going to be very interesting to see whether or not we're going to break to the upside or fall lower, because these could most definitely trade out the same exact way. And that is something of a concern to pay attention to and to make sure that we're ready to dollar cost average if we do decide to break bearish. Now, moving forward now to Bitcoin and Ethereum. This is my major point. What I wanted to show you with Bitcoin and Ethereum is, yes, we are nearing the overbought line on the RSI for Bitcoin, as well as the same thing on Ethereum. But as for Bitcoin and Ethereum, notice that their charts are practically identical in terms of foreshadowing what could happen with Ethereum. So you'll notice, if I draw it out real quick, on Bitcoin's, ascending triangle, let's see. Bam, we have this ascending triangle that I just drew in green, and you'll notice we broke bullish from that. The past couple of days, I was calling that we could see a retracement lower from this ascending wedge. We could break bearish and fall, lowering our RSI to around 50, giving us potential to be buying back in terms of us moving back up later down the road. We would have a good profit area. Now, we did break bullish, which was surprising, but there is still money to be made. Obviously, we would set a buy order at right above the resistance that we have here. So we would set, if the resistance is at 8250, we'd set it at like 8300, and then we'd ride the wave back up and make a small profit off of that in case we do break bullish. And then vice versa, we'd put a sell order, maybe buy, or yeah, I believe it's a sell order. No, not a sell order. A stop loss at around, or a buy order down here. No, a stop loss down here. Basically, we would buy in down at like 71.30. I might have them switched up really quick because I'm speaking fast, but we buy in a little bit lower, and then we catch that bounce right back up. Now, the one thing I wanted to point out is you can see with this ascending triangle that Bitcoin is forming, we broke bullish from that. Now, check out Ethereum, guys. Ethereum, and literally I was discussing this yesterday with a client on my Patreon. For those of you who don't know what Patreon is a way for you guys to get access to all of my content on YouTube exclusively. All these charts that I'm graphing that take a while for me to export and upload and make and edit and put on YouTube, you guys can get access to these on my Patreon live updates, so you'll never have to miss out on anything, and you guys can follow along with my YouTube videos. We're about to hit, I think we just broke 80 subscribers, which is amazing, or 80 patrons on Patreon, which is fantastic, on our way to 100. And this is an awesome growing community where we can share all of our potential buy-in orders and sell orders and share all the coins. As a team, we're able to look at all the different cryptocurrencies instead of just me. I get to kind of look over them and if we agree, we buy in and we make some pretty good dough. Now, what I wanted to point out and what I was discussing yesterday, and I even have video of it, which if we do well on Ethereum, I'll play those videos back in a future video showing that I did make this call prior to the breakout. Now, this breakout actually did happen while I was having the conversation about it breaking out with my client, and then we saw the run. And I was saying that Bitcoin already broke bullish, but Ethereum wasn't. Ethereum was below here, and I said this is the prime example. We're going to look at this, price right here, and we're going to say, okay, so there's a chance that we could break bearish and we could fall. We would set a buy-in order down here, right around this level, if not down here, or in this zone where we have our ascending triangle, or ascending support right here, this purple line. And we would buy in on that, as well as up here, our 10% and 10% down here, averaging us to about 215, 216 break-even point in dollar cost averaging terms. Now, I also said a good buy-in order, if we did break to the upside, is watch the chart and see. If we break above 280 on Ethereum, that pretty much is a good confirmation that we could head higher. And that's exactly what happened. So we saw this break-in point, and I did buy in. We saw the break above 280, and we said, okay, that is a pretty good confirmation that we're going to break to the upside. We broke long-term resistance and we're going to head up. So I did make that purchase. You can see we're only down a little bit because, like I said, eToro is delayed on in terms of price. So it says it's 139 when the price is actually a little bit higher. Sorry, the price is 287 when the price could be higher or lower on Coinbase or something like that. And for those of you who don't know what eToro is a way for us to virtually invest in a simulated cryptocurrency trading platform to kind of practice all of our methods that we teach on YouTube before we actually play around with real money. Now, everything that I speak about within these videos, I'm referencing to eToro. Trade virtually. That's all I'm pushing. If you guys want to go and invest real money, you do that outside of the channel. I don't want to be affiliated or referenced with the possibility of a loss or really a gain. I do appreciate the gains, but I'd be better off just teaching you these virtual trades and you guys make your own. I'm only referencing what I'm doing with real money. But we did see that confirmation and the break, and we did move above. So that does, to me, it's a pretty good sign if everything, holds out, that we're going to go a little bit higher. We could see a small move up to $300. That's when I would sell off, make a small profit, and call it a day. Conservative trading. Now, by the off chance we do break down, why would I assume we could break down? Well, what else are we looking at? We're looking at the RSI. Not only are we now in the overbought market, which is kind of tempting, you can see previously we shot up all the way to here, about 86 on the RSI. So there still is potential for us to move higher within the RSI. We could see a move to 86 on the RSI, which gives us some room to profit off of. Now, we're playing with fire right now, guys. This is kind of a risky trade because we're in that overbought market. So this is, for those of you who like risky trades, this is a potential one. So we could move a little bit higher up, but there's an off chance that we still can retrace back down before the breakout really, gets going and heads to like $300. So we could see that pull back down to our uptrend, if not fall much lower. And I'm still anticipating a pretty big pullback and a pretty big dip within the market because all of the coins are overbought, or all of the coins are trading at that overbought line, indicating a retracement is necessary. So this is risky, guys, because I am expecting a pretty long and large pullback that could literally be for the length of June. We really could see a monthly retracement. You can see on Litecoin, we had this. This took a month, guys. This retracement right here was a month long. And that's truthfully what I'm anticipating for Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Litecoin. This might be the last trade we make before consolidating, buying down as we fall lower, but who knows? We're seeing these markets all overbought. It's a good indication a pullback is going to happen. But I did think that Ethereum was foreshadowing Bitcoin. Bitcoin broke bullish from this ascending wedge. So it only made sense that we would see the same thing within Ethereum. Now, we didn't go too high. That's another thing we have to take into consideration. Then we traded out sideways. So we could see that happen. We could maybe move up a little bit higher to like 290, trade sideways, potentially fall back down to our ascending wedge or ascending triangle, like this ascending support right here. And then we'll see what happens. But that was my semi-risky move, guys. Everybody who has me on Patreon, I also alerted you the second it happened. But if things, go good with this, I'll show you guys the videos from my tutoring session explaining that there is that possible upside where we could see Ethereum pump to 300 before retracing. So we'll see how it goes. Lastly, let's sum up today's episode with Zcash. You can see Zcash is breaking bullish. Literally how we've been calling it. We were anticipating this. We expected that there was a resistance right over here. But, the charts hold true. We had our resistance right here, but we said we're most definitely going to come back up and retest this high-low MMA. It was that simple. This high-low MMA is huge. It means like neutral on the graphs, and we always like to come back and retest it or touch it. And you can see we broke we're continuing to move up, and we could literally see it go a little bit higher and touch up here. But obviously this was a great buying opportunity down here. Even here was a great buying opportunity because we're starting to see that consolidation move upwards. We were also nowhere near overbought, which is another great indicator that there is plenty of room to move up higher, which is exactly what's happening. Now, unfortunately, I didn't buy in because I don't think eToro has Zcash. Could be wrong, and I didn't want to buy in and just mention it. I like to show you guys when I'm buying and selling so I can actually show visual proof that there's skin in the game. But that's kind of my fair take. We could definitely pump a little higher. There's plenty of potential within Zcash to move higher. Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin aren't. They're kind of already overbought. So I really want to see whether or not Ethereum can go a little bit higher. Otherwise, I would set a stop loss at right where you bought it at. Maybe even at 270 to cut your losses in case we fall lower. So for those of you who did take the risk and jumped into Ethereum, I would put a stop loss right here. literally just to cover your ass, and I'm going to do the same at 270. If we break higher to 300, take profits, call it a day, because there's a very good chance we're going to start to see this retracement very soon within the market. Otherwise, guys, that's going to sum up today's video. If you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe, turn on post notifications, leave a giant thumbs up. Yes, I did drink caffeine before I made this episode. Otherwise, giveaway at 10,000 subscribers for $100 of free Litecoin, and I'll see you guys in tomorrow's video. Peace.